Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown, where we give you the top 10 stories of the week. Brought to you by Data. That's how we pick the top 10 stories of the week. We are the Hollywood Raw Podcast. My name is Adam Glyn on the East Coast. On the West Coast, the best coast, is Dax Holt. How are you, sir?
I am good. Just got back from Vegas today.
I go to Vegas, I leave, then you go to Vegas, and then you leave.
I can tell you I do not feel refreshed one bit.
You like Vegas?
It's okay. I enjoy going for short periods of time. You know, I'm at a different point in my life, so it's not like I'm going out clubbing and doing all that. So yes, I enjoy going there just because it's an experience every time.
Is it exciting? Like, you're there on the weekdays this week. In Vegas, there is always something going on. However, the weekdays, it does calm down a bit. When you go on the weekdays or when you go to Vegas, is it exciting for you as some other people? Or are you just sort of like immune to it?
Probably because I've been there so much over my life that it's not as exciting as it used to be. And don't get me wrong, it's fun. Like our room was sick this time. We were overlooking the Bellagio fountains, and so that was nice. Like when you get like a really sick room or a great view or whatever, I think that makes it exciting. But then I'd never stayed at Cosmo before, and this was my first time staying there. So
what'd you think of that place? I stayed there before for a bachelor party.
It's cool. I think it's because it's like the popular spot, so there's a lot of like really fun people watching going on.
Yeah,
and I did a lot of that. I love people watching. Airports, hotels, Vegas, anything. Ooh, yes.
Vegas people watching is like no other. It's funny. I was standing on the wall and I caught myself just stuck there. I was like so drawn to the entertainment of people watching there that someone else even said to me, like, "Are you really entertained right now?" Because so am I. Like, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, from the characters you see keep walking back and forth, it was amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, was there still like people crazy from the Super Bowl, like all about the Super Bowl there, or they are checking out?
There's so many people still walking around in Chiefs garb. I mean, I did see a lot of 49er fans. They just looked a little more depressed. Sure. But then half the other people, in your description, look like vampires because it's Vegas and they've been up all day, all night. So you see a lot of those people. I saw one woman at 7:30 in the morning yesterday. I got up to go for a run, and she had the shortest skirt that I have ever seen in my entire life. It was like half her ass cheeks were hanging out the bottom. And I was just like, and she was doing a stroll out of the hotel at like 7:30 in the morning. I was like, damn, how do you even, like, I was just waiting. It was so tight that I was just waiting for the skirt to just like pop up and just go around her waist because it was so tight. It was crazy.
Do you think would you assume that she was working?
Let's say she was dressed like she could have been working.
Okay.
But she also could have gone out clubbing the night before and was just kind of like getting her stuff together. I don't know. I hate to say that, but it was a really small skirt, and how like when someone walks by and like all the eyes in the entire casino like follow. It was one of those situations.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone said to me, "It's like, did you see a lot of hookers out in Vegas?" And I'm like, I don't know. They're not standing on a corner these days. The girl could be some. I've seen a lot of like prostitutes. Don't judge. I respect the hustle, but they blend in. Like they're very.
Vegas is a different place, man.
It's a different place, man. All right, enough with Vegas. I'm trying to get it out of my system. We're going to get into the top 10 stories of the week. How do we pick the top 10 stories? It's brought to you by Data. It's brought to you by the Google searches. That's how we kind of decide on the top 10 stories of the week. Before we get to that, we read reviews. We love them so much. We give you some love on the air for giving us the reviews. It's the best thing to do to support the podcast. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
I do. All right, this one comes from Kelsey Cardinal, 5 stars. The headline says, "I've become a forever fan." Well, that's a good way to start. I've been listening to their Friday episodes for months now, as well as being a member of the Facebook group Off the Record. I love these guys. Recently started to listen to the Wednesday episodes as well and realized I love all their content. I've recommended them to countless friends and finally felt like it was time to write a review. I love their takes on everything, and I love laughing with them. I work with kids, so podcasts often feel like a bulk of my adult interactions, and I always feel like I'm with friends when I listen to Hollywood Raw. Kelsey Cardinal. Aw, thanks, Kelsey. Love it.
Kelsey Cardinal, that is a really sweet review. Thank you for that, and thank you for your work with kids. Thank you for the review. It really helps us out. On to the top 10 stories of the week, Dax, starting with number 10.
Number 10, Kevin Costner and his ex-wife, Christine Baumgartner, have officially finalized the divorce that has been dragging on for what feels like forever. It's been 6 months at least. And that is kind of one of the big deals is that 6 month mark basically means, okay, everything's got to move forward according to the courthouse. So according to legal docs obtained by TMZ, Kevin and Christine signed a marital settlement agreement, which they did file with the court since it had been 6 months. Since she filed for divorce, it was a required waiting time in California, and now case closed. They are done. According to the settlement, there's not a lot of details that have been made public, but TMZ is told by the judge that they validated the prenup, which was a huge part of this divorce. If you remember, it was a big contention point whether or not she felt like that prenup should be held accountable, that she should be getting a lot more money. They had both asked for joint custody of the 3 kids, and she got around $63,000 a month in child support. If you remember, she was asking, though, for a lot more. She wanted $248,000 a month, but her justification for wanting that much money wasn't really there, and the judge wasn't really buying it. I know one of the items that she put on her expense declaration was $100,000 for cosmetic surgery. So the judge was like, I don't think that's a requirement. And so he had basically ordered Kevin to pay 63. Kevin himself had offered her a lot more, $75,000 a month prior to the ruling, but the judge even made it less for him. So I think it'll just be nice for them to be able to move along with their life at this point, because this has dragged on for so goddamn long.
Yeah, it's nice for Kevin that he gets to just kind of move on with his life. She seems like she might be kind of a little bit. She still wants that life a little bit. I mean, money was big.
Well, she does it. Here's the thing: what I've learned through my years of all these big high-profile divorces, if you make the money together, she still does deserve that lifestyle, right? Like at the end of the day, she's been living in that lifestyle for 10 years or however long they were married. She's accustomed to it. You can't just take it away. And especially in California, they will fight to make sure that the kids are not being raised in 2 separate like lifestyle homes. You can't have the kids go to Kevin's house, which is a 10-bedroom mansion, and then go to her house, which is a 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it works. And so that money has to be split in a way that the kids don't see this huge of a difference. And then I guess same for her too. You know, she's used to it as well. But he's already moved on. He's now dating Jewel, which has gotten a lot of publicity recently. She's already dating a friend of hers and Kevin's. His name is Josh Connor. So I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm glad they all moved on. I'm surprised. I mean, Christine is now dating a friend of both of theirs. Kevin's with Jewel, which kind of makes sense. She's a celebrity. She's very pretty. And actually, I will say, from my experiences with Jewel over the years, and again, I say my experiences with her. We're not friends, but I've kind of been around her a lot over the past. I've interviewed a few times. Very cool girl. Like she's cool. She's fun. She laughs. She gets it. Good for him. Hope she's happy as well. Dax, I know this is a little off question, but of all the divorces you've covered over the years, is there one celebrity divorce that was the messiest that rings a bell to you?
That is
where they both were just putting each other through so much hell. You have a better memory than I do. Is there anything that you could think of offhand?
Oh God, I know that. Like I remember the Mel Gibson one. Or no, that was a girlfriend. Never mind. What was the one? There was I feel like there's been so many nasty divorces, and of course, you put me on the spot. Now I can't think of one right
No,
now.
I hear it. What you said. What you said with Mel Gibson. It was just the
Mel's was a
girlfriend was
bad
suing him?
one. Mel's was a bad one, but I'm thinking of when it got really bad was him and Oksana Gorigeva or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
That got nasty because remember he like threatened to put her bury her in a rose garden. That's what was popping up in my mind, but that wasn't a divorce.
You know what, Dax? We're so dumb. We're not even thinking about it. I mean, I'd have to say the nastiest divorce of all time, as far as in the celebrities, would probably have to be with Johnny Depp.
Oh, yes. 100%.
The Johnny Depp. Yeah, that one was probably one of the nastiest ones we could really think about. Where, man, I think Kelly Clarkson was not through a good one recently, but the Johnny Depp one was like a game changer as far as divorces. All right, Dex, the number 9 story.
Jennifer Lopez coming face to face with that actress who said she was a terrible, terrible singer. You remember this story? So we talked about this last week. AO Deb, I think is how you say her name. She's one of the stars of The Bear. She was hosting SNL, and she had many years ago said some really kind of crappy things on a podcast about Jennifer Lopez, about her career, had basically said that her singing career was one long scam. And said that on the podcast. Well, flash forward to years later, now she is hosting SNL. Jennifer Lopez was the musical guest on SNL, and I guess she was mortified. So Jennifer sat down. She was talking to Variety about the whole thing, about how AO actually apologized to her about her negative comments from the past. She was very apologetic. She said, look, she came to my dressing room and apologized with tears in her eyes, saying how terrible it was that she said all those things, felt really bad, and loved my performance because we had just done my sound check, and she actually got to hear me perform. She basically came in and said, she was like, I'm so fucking sorry. It was so awful of me. And they kind of hugged it and made up, which I do give AO credit, because that has to be hard to go in and like face someone and be like, I said some shit about you. But I feel like it happens all the time in Hollywood. You know what I mean? You never know who you're going to work with. And I say this all the time, like, be nice to everyone, because at one point you're going to run into someone, or even your intern from the past is your now boss in the future. Like, Hollywood can flip so quickly. So just careful what you say publicly. But I do love that J-Lo said, look, I've heard so many things about my career in the past that like, it really didn't even bother me, but I think it was eating AO up inside.
Yeah, she had to. It came out, the comments came out, or her history of her comments came out a few days before SNL. It made such big news. She has to address it. She has to bring it to J-Lo. Of course, J-Lo is going to forgive her. It is what it is. And sometimes you have to eat your words. And, I respect for Jennifer Lopez. From my experience, in a pre-interview, Jennifer Lopez is asked, hey, do you want to answer this question? She said, yes, you could ask me this question. And she spoke about it, because she didn't have to be asked this question, but she said, ask me this question. She spoke about it. It's a nice conclusion to the story. And I don't think probably this actress, I don't know, I can't say her name, AO, that she ever thought she'd be in this position. Because if she ever thought she'd be in this position, she probably would have never made those comments. Yeah. But Jennifer Lopez also knew she's around. Actually, I saw her today, dude. I saw her going into NBC. Man, she's still, people go crazy for Jennifer Lopez still.
She is so unbelievably beautiful. She does not age. I don't understand. It makes absolutely no sense. But I saw your video. Gorgeous.
We should put that on the TikTok. Let's put that video on the TikTok. Okay. The Jennifer Lopez one. It's nothing like Jennifer doesn't talk to me, but it's Jennifer going into NBC. But the amount of photographers that are drawn to her, that shoot her, because people just love her. People want to see her. Her photo sells. But she did a lot of news this week. She talked about her relationship with Ben Affleck, right?
Mm-hmm. She did talk about that. Talk about how like they just weren't ready years ago to get married. Like, I guess they were kind of on that track, but like the timing was not there. I mean, was there anything from that article that you were like, you really thought stood out to you?
No, but anything with Jennifer Lopez is going to bring in viewers. So that's why they wrote the article. It's just that what she says, they were just too immature. They just didn't even know how to really put a wedding together, it sounds like. Yeah. So, But Jennifer Lopez,
Let the butterfly fly. And if it's
yes,
meant to be, they will come back together.
yes, Dax, the number 8 story.
Kristen Stewart on the cover of Rolling Stone is the gayest thing ever. No, I'm just kidding. That's what she wanted it to be. No, these were her words, not mine. But I guess, she had never been on the cover of Rolling Stone, and this is a big deal for her. And she basically said that in the past, during the height of her Twilight career, that it was all the guys that were getting to be on the cover of magazines because they were the sex symbols of the Twilight franchise. And so she was kind of, I guess, jealous back in the day, like, man, I have to be the guy to be able to get this like level of fame. And she said that when she landed the latest Rolling Stone cover, she told the outlet that she wanted it to be the gayest fucking thing you have ever seen in your life. So
That's
the
funny.
cover, it is funny. So the cover is her. She's got her like mullet that she's been rocking for the last little bit. She's got this leather vest on and a jock strap. And then she's got her hand down the front of the jock strap like she's grabbing her crotch. And it's getting a lot of attention. Now, she's been really kind of leaning into this androgynous style for quite some time. She pulls it off really well. I feel like the Met Gala, I think, did you remember seeing her at the Met Gala where she was wearing that white and black tuxedo looking outfit?
Yeah,
And
it was a cool
definitely
look.
is
I mean, we can never wear it,
gender-bending.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely very neutral wearing as far as sex wise. But she's an ambassador for Chanel, which I thought was interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's
When you
even
go to
with
when you go to the
her
airport, you
style
always
she go for.
see her like on the big pictures, like how they have like the Chanel store at an airport. She's like all over the place.
You know what I thought it was interesting, Dax, and I know I sent you the story that she does not talk about Robert Pattinson anymore. I think we forgot about that. It's been so long, but she does not talk about Robert Pattinson. She,
Well, I don't blame her. This is a relationship that was 10 years ago. Can you imagine that everything you do, every interview that you go to, the one thing they want to talk about is a relationship you had 10 years ago? Like, God, that would be so annoying. She's like, look, we were young. We were basically in high school. Like, we did dumb shit. Like, leave us alone. I don't want to answer questions about a past relationship. I mean, she's dating a new woman. He's got a kid, like, on the way. And I just think it's got to be annoying for each other to not be able to move on and talk about something different.
The only thing I would say in rebuttal to that is it's not just the relationship. I'm not asking you, hey, was Robert Pattinson a good kisser? I'm more asking that time was just such a crazy time when the movie came out. First of all, they're in a relationship. Twilight's the biggest movie. Everyone is talking about these two. So I just don't want her to feel like, hey, we might ask about Robert Pattinson, but it's not necessarily about the relationship. It's just about that period in your life when that movie came out, because there's very few movies that took over the world like Twilight did. I mean, that 6 months of Twilight came in, it was
I think it's
time.
also,
And I don't know if that'll never happen again.
Yeah, I don't know if it's probably a lot in the way that people phrase things. When you have an interviewer, the way that they phrase a question makes a big difference. So she may still be open to it. It just needs to be phrased in the right way that doesn't make her feel like, oh, here we go again, rehashing old relationships once again.
Yeah. Dax, the number 7 story.
Kendall Jenner, Devin Booker potentially hanging out together again. So they were spotted in the same suite at Super Bowl. A lot of people talking about this. They're a former couple. They were apparently seated in the same stadium suite during the big football game on February 11th. I guess Kyle Rubin, the daughter of Michael Rubin, confirmed that he was actually there by tagging him in an Instagram slideshow that she shared the day after the Super Bowl. So we know he was definitely there. She was there. We've seen photos, not that they aired it during the Super Bowl, which a lot of people were talking about the fact that Michael Rubin's suite had all of these celebrities, so many big celebrities, all the Kardashian Jenner clan. He had Bieber there, and they didn't pan to them during the telecast, which was huge. Like, how do you show Beyonce and Lady Gaga and Jay-Z and all these people, but you don't show the Kardashian Jenner family?
It's funny. I was curious about that because there's other people in that box, and I know some people are going from suite to suite. They're able to kind of jump to different suites. Elon Musk was there, and I don't know
Mhm.
if Elon Musk was in this suite with them or if he went to another suite. However, there might be, and again, I don't know. I'm just saying, I wonder if there was a deal with the TV people where if you sit in the first two rows, we could
Mhm.
shoot you, but the fair space, like, hey, you need a break and you don't want to be on camera, you kind of go two rows back into the
Kim
box,
was
and then they can't
Kim
shoot you
was
then.
in the first row. She was in the
She
exact same row, 10 seats down from Justin Bieber, who they showed on television.
Yeah, so I know, but I'm curious. There was other people. There were so many celebrities at this game. Like I said, Elon Musk is there. How do you
But
not
so
show him, but
I
you show some
talked
of the other people?
I talked to one guy this week that he was actually at the game, and he said they didn't even show them in stadium at any point. They're like, he goes, I know that they didn't show in the telecast, but a lot of times, when the game is going on, they're still kind of like flashing people inside the arena in their suites. He's like, I saw all the celebs. They never once showed Kim up on any of the screens there. He goes, so I don't know if they just like had some beef or like don't like the Kardashians. He just said it was noticeably strange that they got left out.
A lot of people think it was strange when they put the camera on Leo and Leo was rubbing his nose. I mean, Leo, what do you want Leo to do when they put the camera on him? Is he going to
He's
address it? Of course, he gets weird, and it's like, come
he
on,
hates
dude.
it. He hates when
He
they
hates
show.
that
Oh, okay,
stuff.
we were talking about Kendall here. We totally got sidetracked.
Sorry. Kendall Jenner, Devin Booker. I think they're going to end up back together. It just seems like a good couple. They had a very successful relationship for a
Mhm.
period of time. Obviously, things kind of went there. They went to each other's different ways. Kendall ended up with Bad Bunny. I didn't think that was going to be more of a long-term relationship with them. I thought that was just going to be a phase. I just think Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner, it just makes sense. I think
And they have said in the past, like, they were taking a break now. We'll see what happens down the road. Neither one of them fully shut the door on that relationship. There's a good chance that Devin and Kendall wind up back together.
I would put money on that. Dax, the number 6 story.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, landing a new podcast. So Meghan Markle getting a new podcast deal. If you remember, the last one kind of fell through with Spotify. It sounds like her podcast has now found a new home at Lemonada, which is a podcast network. So her production team, Archwell, has now teamed up with Lemonada to bring this new podcast out there. I guess this is kind of still one of the big loves of her life, is talking and putting out a podcast. She wants to have, by the way, the name of the podcast is called Archetypes, which is the same name it had before when it was with Spotify. But she's going to have people coming on, notable women, including Mariah Carey, Mindy Kaling, Issa Rae. And I think that she still does have a very big brand. It may not be the most popular one at the moment, but I think she is still able to attract really big guests onto the show. I think a lot of people in Hollywood still like to associate with the Sussexes, even though I feel like people give them such a hard time publicly. But I think she'll get some good guests. I see this being a good podcast if it can kind of get off the ground. I do remember when the deal fell through, they were saying that she wasn't the easiest to work with or something like that. Like
Bill Simmons, who made a deal with Spotify, who sold his network to Spotify, said that I think he basically worked with Harry and coming off with a title for Spotify, but he said from what we were hearing that they were very, very difficult to work with. I will say this. I'm surprised that Meghan, she could do anything, business, fashion, entertainment business. But it seems like to me, and I could be wrong, that she's doubled downing on the entertainment business. Why not go the fashion route? Why not go the more like, I don't know why she wants to be part of the entertainment business so much
That's what she
when
got
she has.
into. That was her thing. I think once you've had acting or in front of the camera, I think it's hard to like turn your back on it. That's what you know.
Yeah, but you're also saying that you hate the paparazzi, you hate this sort of attention. Well, this is what comes with that attention. You don't just get to do the business and go home. Paparazzi, photographers, if you want to stay out of that limelight, then go a different route, go the business route. And she keeps coming back in. And that's the part that makes me wonder. There's so many, she could do anything, but you still want to stick to the entertainment business.
I do wonder why she doesn't do more fashion, because she had her blog where she, she would have all this kind of like lifestyle tips and travel and all this. Every time I've seen her, she dresses really well. Like, say what you want about Meghan Markle, she dresses really well. So why not get into the fashion business? Because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, if I could dress like Meghan Markle, I'd do it in a second. I think that'd be a great transition for her.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like a no-brainer, but just don't complain about the paparazzi and photographers if you're still sticking around the entertainment business, because this kind of goes hand in hand.
That's not fair, because she will never be able to get away from the paparazzi at this point.
No,
she is married to a prince. That family is forever famous no matter what. She will always be in the spotlight. Doesn't matter if she is a podcast host, she goes back to a television show, she does movies. She could step out of all of it, and every time they leave the house, there would still be a camera out there.
100%. But when you start to kind of phase your way out of the industry, the allure, the excitement, the paparazzi start to slow down as well.
Not with them, though.
There's still always be photographers, but again, just get out of the industry. Just get out of the industry. I get what you're saying, Dax. I totally agree. There's still the allure with the association to England.
Yeah, they're in a different category. Like,
I get it.
If Gwyneth Paltrow was to step away from Goop and not make any movies and not do anything, people would start to forget or not care, not cover her. But with the royals, this is your life. So there will never be a day that people don't care about, Prince Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and I agree with you. But again, just get into the fashion business, or just get into the more. But
if her fashion takes off, I mean, there you go. You're right back in the spotlight again, because Donatella Versace, she's not known for anything else other than fashion, but she is huge because her fashion's huge. So if Meghan's fashion becomes big, then it's again down the same road. You just can't win.
I'm just grossed out by Meghan coming after our sponsors. There are sponsors, Meghan. Get out of the podcast industry, okay?
Get out of our space, girl. You're
get out of our
taking
space.
Away all of our peeps.
Clout chasing, Meghan. You little Dax, the number 5 story.
Sharon Stone complaining it is very expensive to be famous, guys.
It is.
She does have a point. I have to say, as much as I think people are going to make fun of her for this story, I think it is pretty expensive to try to maintain fame in Hollywood. So basically, she sat down with InStyle for their confidence issue, and she said, look, you go out there, you go to dinner, there's 15 people at the table. Who gets stuck with a check? Not the non-famous people, but Sharon Stone, because she's famous, and everyone's going to hand her the bill and go, you're the one with all the money. You pay. So she goes, every time I get stuck with a $3,000 dinner check because of who I am. She also said that back in the day when Basic Instinct premiered in 1992, she was living on a public street. Everyone had access to drive up to her house. She didn't have any security. And she remembers that following the whole O.J. Simpson chase, she was visited by a couple officers who told her that she was in danger, that police were unsure of the situation and they were taking extra precautions, but ultimately said, you need to go to a community that has gates, that is a little bit harder for someone to get into. She also had to basically hire additional security, a management team that she employed, and all of this comes at an expensive price tag. Like, having private security is not cheap. You're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to have someone make sure that you are safe. And so she goes, look, say what you want, but I have to foot the bill because of who I am. And I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So today I saw Kelly Rowland. I didn't see her, actually. I was outside a building where she was, and I was talking to the driver. I was like, oh, it's just you guys. He's like, no, we have another car in front of us. Kelly Rowland's driving around with 2 SUVs in New York City. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot because you can say, oh, she's worth millions of dollars. However, 2 SUVs in New York City, that's costing you roughly about $250 an hour. That's the price of that. So you're paying $500 just for the 2 cars. Plus, you got to pay for the makeup person, plus the hair person, plus your assistant, plus the publicist. I mean, it costs a lot of money to kind of keep that that brand going, and it's very
Well, and
expensive.
think about it. And even big stars, they're not going to travel in coach. You know what I'm saying? There's also a level of, okay, well, you're a big star. Now you have to pay the price tag to sit in the front of the plane so that you're not back there with the rest of us, or you're flying private, which is also really expensive. And she even said that. She goes, at least now people understand that Jennifer Lawrence can't just skip onto an airplane. Nicole Kidman can't jump onto Delta. She goes, it comes along with the territory when you have this level of success, fame, and people recognize you everywhere you go. And this could be one of those situations where you're like, oh, poor rich famous person, sucks to be you. But I understand, probably because I'm a cheap ass, so I can understand that it would probably be really hard for me to spend all the money just to keep it up.
One time I was talking to a big celebrity one time, and they said, the hardest thing about being in Hollywood is like saying no, because you want to do everything for everyone. You don't want to be a dick, but the amount of requests that come to you is just insane. And it's not like the weird requests. It's, obviously you get the, can I get a photo with you? Can I get an autograph? Can you sign this? Can you do a video for my friend? Can you donate to my charity? Can you come to this event? Can you put me in this movie? It's like, you don't want to be an asshole, but you logistically, you can't do everything for everyone. And it's funny, this person I've gone out to eat with, and I get so conscious. And when I go out to dinner, like when the check comes, like, do I throw my credit card down? Do I say, hey, let's split it? And I've been out with them a few times. And usually what I do is I'll take care of lunch. They take care of dinner. And lunch, usually we're not going to such a fancy spot. Dinner usually might be a little bit expensive, a little bit more.
So are you like, hey, I'll take you to lunch, Taco Bell?
Pretty much. No, Taco Bell's expensive. We talked about that. The prices have gone up. We'll go for like a nice, not like a fine lunch in the city, but when we go to dinner, we usually go not like a Nobu by any means, but like a solid restaurant, and they usually pick up the bill. But I make sure I order I try to order like the cheapest thing. Like, I'm just not that guy. I'm not going to order the Kobe steak, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like that. But it's very, honestly, I get very self-conscious. I don't know about you, but it's very weird. Have you gone to dinner with like a very successful person before?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to dinner with
it's such a weird question to ask, but
I've gone to dinner with a lot of really successful people, and I always try to say, hey, either I'm going to cover it if it's not a crazy expensive place, or at least offer to split the bill, or I feel like I try to do my part, not just be like, oh, you're rich, you pay for it,
It's
and
very
I think
weird, and I feel bad.
It goes a long way when you pay for a really rich person's meal, because a lot of times they're always the one left with the bill. So when you pay, they remember it.
Do you think they remember it because they know that you're more poor and you have less money, and they're like, dude, that guy who has less money, he spent every single nickel on my dinner. That's so nice of him.
I think they're used to everyone in the room having alligator arms when it comes to reaching for the bill.
I get it.
So they're like, oh, the one person that reached for the bill, the one time I didn't have to do it, is probably a nice feeling.
She also talked about O.J. Simpson this past week, Dax, and
that was I mentioned it because she had to beef up her security during the O.J. time.
So what I was going to say is I was in Vegas last week for the Super Bowl. That's where O.J. Simpson lives, and I tried so hard to meet up with O.J. Simpson in Vegas. I wanted to film O.J. Simpson in Vegas, and because I wanted to meet. I find, even though it sounds crazy, but I am fascinated by the O.J. Simpson trial. I love the documentaries on it. I love the show.
I'll have you go meet Kato Kalin. No, yeah, OJ is such a piece of crap, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. Come on the podcast. Let's talk about what a piece of crap you are. But he's a mess, dude.
Oh, he's definitely a mess. But I just wanted to see the guy that was one of the biggest news stories of my life. And that was just such a era for me, and I followed the case. And I remember it was 1996, and everything happened. It was just the story to me blew my mind. I just wanted to meet the guy who was the
You,
heart of this. I wanted to
you
meet O.J. Simpson.
honestly, you're not alone. I see a lot of people fascinated with him in general. People taking photos with him every time he is out in public. People are asking to take photos, and it's a part of it is because he's infamous,
Yeah,
and people want to at least have that moment where they have a photo with one of the most infamous people on the planet.
exactly. And I wanted to interview him, and I wasn't going to ask him about the case. I was just going to ask him about some other things. Also, like honestly, about the acting. He was in, some movies. I love Naked Gun. I used to love those movies. But apparently, the guy who handles OJ was like, "Listen, we need to get paid," and
Yeah.
that's from allegedly that's what if he does something, he gets paid. He gets paid in cash because anything if it's on
He doesn't want it
books.
to go back to the Goldmans. Yep.
Exactly. So I said, listen, honestly, I don't make enough money where I could pay you. I could easily give you a majority of whatever I make, but I don't know. And they just basically turned it down and they didn't want to meet up with me. But maybe another time I'll meet.
But how
OJ.
shady is that right there? Like, you
Yeah, I
have to
get it.
pay everything in cash so that the Goldmans don't get my money. Like, it's just so shady. Okay, let's move on.
All right. Number 4.
Usher having a secret wedding ceremony to his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer. And we've got all the details. But basically, the 45-year-old Grammy-winning artist married his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer. They tied the knot in Las Vegas right after the Super Bowl on Sunday night. They did it at a drive-through tunnel. The fast lane. Usher's mom was apparently one of the couple's witnesses, according to the marriage certificate. And they did actually release a statement to People magazine saying, we can confirm that Usher and Jennifer took the next steps in their relationship and did get married on Sunday night in Las Vegas, surrounded by close friends and family, and then went on to say that they both look forward to continuing to raise their children together, surrounded by love, and thank everyone for the well wishes. So, kind of exciting. Like, what a big weekend for Usher to be performing at Super Bowl halftime and then go and marry his longtime girlfriend. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, huge weekend for Usher. And then they just announced he's doing a national tour. He's doing I was talking to a friend of mine there. He's doing 3 shows, I believe, in Brooklyn. And me personally, I've seen Usher perform before. I just think seeing him in Vegas was like more of an experience. I kind of like the idea of that show, but seeing him do his concert, I don't know. I'm just ranting about this, but actually, Dax, weirdly off subject. You know who's touring? Not touring, but doing like 5 shows in America coming up that I really want to go see. In fact, I might even buy tickets as soon as we're done recording because I think it's going to sell out. And I don't know. Let us know in our Facebook group off the record if you know who this person is and if you're a fan of this person. But I love this person, and they rarely perform, and I want to go see them. It's Craig David. Do you know who Craig David is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Craig David.
But what a random person. Like, I did not expect Craig David to be the name that came out of your mouth right now.
Yeah. I think that's I just think I want to go see him. I'd rather see Craig David than Usher. However, I do love Usher. I think Usher is great, even though I didn't think his Super Bowl performance was unbelievable. I think it was fine. Nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't my favorite. But yeah, what a weekend for him. You know what's funny? I also that weekend, Usher had a party before the Super Bowl, and I was talking to one of the celebrities, security guy, and like, yeah, Usher had a party, like a private party. It's like, how is nobody talking about Usher had a secret party the weekend of the Super Bowl? Turns out, like, everyone must have known in that room and had to say, like, hey, we cannot let this out.
I just can't talk about it.
Yeah, it must have been super private. I gotta maybe put that out there, that how they're trying to keep that very low key. But congratulations to Usher. I know Chile. Remember Chile used to date Usher?
She did. They were together for a while, and now she's with
long time.
She's with Matthew Lawrence because that's been making a lot of news. Apparently, she doesn't have anything to say about the Usher news. She is not going to be mad-mouthing it. She is focused on her relationship with Matthew Lawrence because obviously that's the first thing the outlets do is go back to your exes and be like, do you have anything to say about your ex and their new romantic life situation? And she's like, yeah, I'm good, guys. Let's move along here. I'm happy with the relationship I'm in. I don't need to stir anything up. So she is not going to be saying anything negative about them.
Good for them. Usher made some iconic music videos too. By the way, dude, you know what's so funny? I've been watching somehow on my TikTok algorithm, which is incredible. I got the best TikTok algorithm. It goes from like breakdancing to like fights in fast food restaurants to people harassing Scientologists. It's a really, really good algorithm. But Chris Brown dancing has been popping up in my algorithm.
Uh-huh.
Dude, Chris Brown, say what you want about him, and I'm probably with you. However, the guy could still dance phenomenally. Like he's an incredible dancer.
I've always said this about Chris Brown. Like the dude really fucked up the whole trajectory of his career in one single night. He has so much talent. He can sing, he can dance. He literally could have filled that void of, the Michael Jackson style performer. But nope, can't look at him the same way after what happened with Rihanna. It's so hard to look past it. I know he said it numerous times, like, I was young, I was dumb, I did something. People do dumb shit all the time in their lives. It's just really hard to. I have that picture of Rihanna's beaten up face seared in my mind for the rest of time. It's very hard to look past that. And I, think how big he could be right now if that night would have been different and if he could have kept his hands to himself.
It's just weird also how Hollywood, I feel like, we forgive some people and don't forgive others. And when you see what's going on with Kanye right now, Kanye was at the Super Bowl.
That does not mean people forgive him.
No, but he was still in the same box with Leo and other celebrities, where if other celebrities could have done is also walk out, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, get out of here. We don't want to have anything to do with you. We hate what you did. But he's still working.
I don't feel like he's forgiven.
Who, Kanye?
Yeah, I don't feel like
but I don't think he's definitely not forgiven, but he's still accepted, where Chris Brown to me is not really
Chris
accepted.
Brown.
He still works, but not to the capacity which he should be because of that incident.
A lot of people open their doors and arms to Chris Brown, though. I think it's so weird. It's like such a slippery slope out there. And you're totally right. There are people that get forgiven and others do not. I just don't know if those two are the best examples of that. I don't know. There's other people that don't get forgiven and then are gone out of the spotlight altogether.
Yeah, I just think when I say Kanye, he's the first one to me, just because when I still see people taking photos with him, like other celebrities, like, oh, look who I'm with. I'm like, Kanye. I'm like, why, guys? Like, this is.
I think a bigger sign was that his Yeezys sold like 285,000 pairs because of that Super Bowl commercial or whatever it was. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I remember reading an article just saying, wow, people are still buying his products after everything.
Yeah. Dax, the number 3 story.
Beyonce announcing some new music, and it looks like it's going to be country themed. So everyone's freaking out about this. If you watched the Super Bowl, you got to see her Verizon Super Bowl ad, which was all Beyonce themed and all the things that she was trying to do to basically break the internet, break Verizon's ability to hold content. And at the very end, if you caught it, she basically said that, okay, it looks like the world is ready for a new album. Let's drop the music. And it is because she now is releasing Renaissance Act 2. And it seems very country themed. She's wearing cowboy hats. She's doing all these things that everyone's going, oh shit, she's putting out a fucking country album, which, I mean, Beyonce is the person that can dip into every category and succeed in every category. And they put up like a little teaser video, and you see on the front of the car, it's got a license plate that says Texas Hold'em. She is from Texas, so it only makes sense for her. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try some country.
I'm excited for this. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of big artists either try their hands, go to country, or come from country and do pop. I'm excited to see what she comes up with. I mean, she is one of the most talented women in the game, if not the most talented woman ever in the game. Like, she really is unbelievable. And so cool. give me some new music, Beyonce. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing her country sound and how country she goes. I do think I mean, I don't know what if I was her publicist, I would think you also need to. The country audience it's a very conservative audience, and
Mhm.
I think you'd have to also embrace fellow country people and some of the other country greats, whether it's collab with those people or something
But
along those lines.
she may have songs with people we
That's
just don't
true.
know yet.
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
the album actually drops and we see that she's done music with big country stars, that will solidify her in there even more. Because once I've seen Pink has done a bunch of songs with, like, Chris Stapleton, and she's dipped her feet into country. The songs are great, like really good. Chris Stapleton is probably the one person that like everyone likes to collab with because he's got a great voice, super talented. I wouldn't be surprised if he could be on her album.
I'm excited to hear this music. I feel like right now, Beyonce, which I'm surprised she even released the information now because it's such a Taylor Swift moment where maybe it's not the time to really talk about your music. Let Taylor have her moment, and then boom, we come
No,
up,
dude, this
and
is
then
brilliant. This is brilliant. Like, use the Super Bowl ad. They're paying you to be the face of a Super Bowl commercial, but at the same time, you get something out of it, and you get to tell 123 million people that you have a new album dropping. Like, god damn, she's just so smart. Everything her and Taylor do, like the calculation, the planning, they nail it every time.
I gotta find the good team. I can't find the good team, man. Dax, the number 2 story.
All right, so we're finding out why Justin Bieber skipped the Super Bowl halftime show with Usher. Little John is actually speaking up about the situation, saying, look, everyone wanted Justin to go out there. Everyone knows the backstory that Usher was really kind of the mentor for Justin Bieber when he was coming up. He's really the reason that Justin Bieber got as big as he did because Usher put a lot of his star power and his fame behind the rise and success of Justin. So it really would have made sense for Justin to go out there, but it just wasn't meant to be. It almost was, but it was not meant to be. He said that Justin Bieber was actually considering taking the stage, but ultimately decided to sit it out because it was just a lot for him to take on. He said, between all the rehearsals, the responsibility, time, eyeballs on him, it just wasn't really something that Justin wanted to tackle right now. And that, he wanted to just chill out and sit back and enjoy the show and support Usher from the stands with his wife, Haley. So, of course, everyone was bummed that Justin didn't make an appearance, but I don't think it's his thing right now. He is very low key. He has stepped out of the spotlight a lot. We've seen a couple little things where he'll pop up and play some kind of acoustic event, but he's not going on tour. He's told a lot of people that mentally he needs to be all good before he makes these kind of big decisions.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's a huge opportunity, especially for Usher to kind of perform at the Super Bowl, but he really wants to hang low key. I mean, I'd have to do a lot of digging on this, Dax, but I mean, I look forward to eventually when Justin Bieber does the Super Bowl, or if he, eventually he's got to perform at the Super Bowl
He'll
just
do it.
because he's such an iconic person. And I look forward to when he does it. Another person who I could see next year doing the Super Bowl, just because they're so big and popular and the way the culture is going, is Drake. Drake is just like the guy. I could see Drake doing the Super Bowl. But yeah, it would have been nice to see Bieber perform. You know what? I love
It would have
watching
been fun.
It would have been fun. Because right now, who was there? It was Alicia Keys, Lil Jon.
Her.
Again, nothing that I'm surprised Lil Jon was actually the one to really speak about Bieber because there was a lot of rumors that Bieber was going to come out. And I should have known it was not going to happen when I saw Bieber during the day that Saturday just walk around the casino by himself. Because I was like, dude, that's Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber was walking around in Vegas, the casino, no bodyguard, just like a regular person. People were like, is that Justin Bieber? But no one bothered him. It was just sort of like stunned out. It was Justin Bieber. Yeah, but I love Bieber. I'm a big Bieber guy. Dax, the number 1 story of the week.
Larsa Pippen, Marcus Jordan putting a pause on their relationship. So here's the details that we're hearing right now. They're still talking. However, it's a timeout on their relationship. Not a full-blown quit, not a we will never be back together. But this kind of comes up after some issues cropped up between the two of them that they are hoping to smooth out. According to sources close to TMZ, Larsa and Marcus put a pause on their relationship. They hit a bump in the road. And I guess the conclusion over the weekend was that they just needed some time apart for the time being. I know that there's been some issues with how open she is with their sexual relationship with, when they have sex, she'll like post about it or talk about it. He, on the other hand, is like, I'd like to kind of keep this a little more private. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. But I guess, we'll see where this lasts. Why is this our number one story, by the way?
A lot of people were clicking on it. Why are
people so fascinated with her and him? I think it's her. People are fascinated with her.
She took what we always said. She reads the Kim Kardashian handbook and she knows how to keep herself relevant. And like you said, if they really broke up, they're done. They broke up. And these two, it's based on the story that these two were so smitten together. They were so obsessed with each other. But then other people were just kind of, I have to say, the internet and other doubters are probably just saying, here's this girl who's taking advantage of the moment, who's her last name is Pippen, ends up with a Jordan, and they're not together. We knew this was going to happen. She was using this for clout. Now, I'm just saying, this is what the naysayers are saying. Some people are like, finally they broke up because we knew this was not going to last. And will they get back together? We don't know, but it does keep.
She also knows the power. If she is savvy like Kim, she knows the power of a breakup and the stories, and she could just be going, hey, let's put this out there. Let's unfollow each other off of IG, which they did, get people talking, and then look, we found our way back together again. You know what I'm saying? I am unfortunately, I've been doing this for so long that I don't put anything past people these days. And
True.
Everything could be a publicity stunt until it's not anymore.
And you asked, why is this the number one story? I don't know either. But I will say this, when it comes to Google searches and the most all that, that's what people were clicking on. And that's why every news outlet, entertainment news outlet covered it, including us. And that is the top 10 stories of the week. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on it all. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record, which you guys should join. It's a really cool community where you guys should talk to us. We talk to you. We're actually doing an episode coming up where it's an Ask Us Anything episode where you guys can leave some comments and questions that you guys want us to kind of go over on the podcast. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.